On March 8th, 2021, I published a video asking, time to quit YouTube? At that point, I had 1,130 subscribers, 130 above the minimum needed for monetization, and I was trying to reach the annual 4,000 hours watch time prerequisite to qualify for that YouTube partner program, so I could make a fortune from ad revenue. Hi, Ray here. The problem was my hours were going backwards because, as I explained in that video, hours from the year before were dropping off the back, so to speak, of the YouTube stats. So for instance, on March 7th, I had 3,281 hours, down 100 hours from the previous month. On March 8th, that dropped to 3,252. The next day, I lost another 40 hours, and by the end of the month, I was barely above 3,000 hours. Yes, I kept track of those stats in a little notebook. And yeah, I did feel a bit like an elephant riding a unicycle, or maybe an exhausted hamster on a treadmill. I was disconsolate. Maybe the fact that I was scheduled for cancer surgery a couple of months later had something to do with my outlook. But I think it also made me determined to press on, as it had on 2 previous occasions. But here I am, 2 years later, celebrating 5,000 subs. Oh, and watch time, which I don't really pay much attention to these days, just passed a channel lifetime of 33K, 13K for the last year, which is kind of static. Total views, 500,000. But subscribers remain the hardest metric to grow. Audience isn't everything, of course. No, you're my most important asset, I swear. But I mean that stat isn't the be-all and end-all. What matters is how many of 5,000 return to view my videos. Obviously, not everyone who hits that subscribe button do come back. And if you haven't, please do that right now and hit that notification bell so you don't miss upcoming videos, because I'll be making more. Last December was also the anniversary of the launch of this channel, 8 years. So it's been a very long and very slow growth process, due really to the fact that I didn't put much into it over the first 2 or 3 years, until I guess around 2019, when I decided to try to make something worthwhile out of this channel. 2019 also coincided with my last move out of the city to here, and the decision to slow down enough that I could spend the kind of time and effort it takes to run a channel. It's obvious by now what kind of content attracts the most views, comments, etc. It's Nikon-related gear reviews and whatnot. But that's actually not where I started out. My first successful video on this channel was about printing, and I've done sort of follow-ups to that, some more successful than others. But yeah, there's no doubt that the biggest hit lately had been focused, so to speak, on Nikon cameras and lenses. And that makes sense because most of you have subscribed via videos like my reviews of, say, the Z-mount MC105 2.8 lens review, over 500 subs from that video alone. And the 70-200 2.8 zoom review, another 260 subs there. Then there's my videos on the Z cameras, the Z6 and Z9. Tons of traffic and subs from those. But you might have noticed that I persist in making videos based on my interest in the art of photography. What inspires me, what doesn't, and how technology affects our work. Because as I've said in every way I can think of, photography can't be separated from technology, since it owes its very existence to technology. So I persist in making videos around those ideas, even though those videos tend to lose rather than gain subscribers. But though this video, this celebration, is occasioned by a numerical statistic, I want to make it clear I don't consider my audience as simply numbers in YouTube analytics, especially those who spend the time to comment, to encourage me, offer ideas, and even criticism. Well, when it's offered civilly. I feel like I've made friends here among viewers and other channel hosts, and I owe a debt of gratitude to all but especially those content creators who've helped me grow this channel. The stats I make note of here also help me to develop the channel and understand what my audience are interested in. They're sort of the stats I used to keep in the days when I rode my bikes 10,000 kilometers a year and traveled internationally to take part in events. I logged all of that. Kilometers, elevation change, which said a lot more about difficulty than just the linear distance, weather conditions, and my psychological disposition. And I kept an active blog and website based on all that experience, which a lot of people found useful. And really, that's where the arithmetic was secondary to the stories. Though Google Analytics might have influenced some of the content that I posted, it didn't absolutely dictate what I created. I guess this is really the same as TV ratings, isn't it? And the influence of advertising. Because what I was obsessing over back in that Should I Quit video was reaching those prerequisites so I could make a few bucks here. Now, I realize people hate being interrupted by advertising, but it's a fact of modern life. And before I go any further, it's rather essential. If not for advertising, YouTube would likely not even exist. Though I lived an uneasy relationship with it my whole career as a commercial photographer. And one of my favorite films of all time is that brilliant satirical film, How to Get Ahead in Advertising. But as photographers, most of us, I think, want to know what's on offer from our brand of choice or what the competition is up to. We want to stay abreast of the latest developments. We need to know about improved tools that might improve our work or streamline our workflows. And those who insist on repeating the canard "gear doesn't matter" are full of it. Anyway, advertising is how makers of tools communicate to their potential customers. It's as simple as that. And communication, for the purpose of trade, it's really as old as civilization. Hell, it exists in the most basic of animal communities, even insects, whose pheromones could really be viewed as a kind of original targeted marketing. The only thing we should be concerned about really is if that communication is forthright. And incidentally, I do think that's the best way to get ahead in advertising, at least over the long term. For the sake of this argument, I'm going to ignore the fact that some creatures do emit signals designed to mislead, and I know we could get into the question of how scammers often do so well in this system. A merchant banker that I know once put it to me this way: if you owe us $1 million, it's your problem. If you owe us $1 billion, it's our problem. Well, if my content is a reflection of my brand, everybody talks about themselves as a commodity these days. And if that's in context of this kind of commercial environment we live in, then yeah, absolutely. And we need to use the system and be used, at least consciously. For myself, I try to stay conscious of the part I play in all this. And really, it's not different to the part I've played throughout my career. Juggling my original inspiration and passion to create photographic images out of the whirlwind of life that passes me by and pay the bills. We all, photographers and creators of all kinds, face the same imperatives. Anyway, before I leave this subject, if you haven't skipped ahead or bailed, as of April 6th, there'll be one less type of ad on YouTube, so-called overlay ads. Those little, or really not so little if you're viewing on a phone, bars at the bottom of videos. And that's the thing, YouTube realizes they're overly disruptive for the majority of viewers today on their phones. So potentially, bad for me in terms of revenue, good for viewers. Now this might seem like a stretch, but a few days ago, I was at the doctor's and she was carving yet another problem piece of my epidermis, and we had an interesting chat on stoicism. Since I guess I was attempting to be as stoic as Marcus Aurelius as she wielded her scalpel rather close to a major artery, I thought of recording the whole procedure, but I worried about YouTube's advertiser-friendly guidelines. But it led me to thinking about how surgeons keep up with advances in medicine, tools of the trade, etc. I wonder if there have been any substantive improvements in scalpel design lately. This is how my mind works, and probably why the algorithm isn't sure what to do with me. My doctor, and I'm lucky to have a GP these days, seemed to be genuinely happy to be performing this day surgery. I got the feeling she appreciated the opportunity to practice her skills. I don't mean with me as a guinea pig, I mean practice in the sense of apply her experience and help a fellow sentient being. But we're all practicing in the sense I believe Buddhists mean it. Mastery is not a destination, it's the journey. Well, enough philosophy for today before I lose subscribers. Seriously though, I hope you're enjoying this window on my photographic journey, and it has some relevance to yours. All I can tell you is that I enjoy making these videos, and of course I love this photography adventure I've been on for over half a century. The short version of this ramble is that I'm grateful to every one of you who've joined me here for these slices of my life and work. And here's some more. Let me know in the comments what you enjoy and what you don't. And give this one the old thumbs up. It does help the channel grow. And if you are new here, please consider being part of the next 5,000. Let's make it 10 in the meantime. Take care. Cheers. We'll see you later.